Hi guys, what are we going to do today? I'm going to take this board from the Dollar Tree and we are going to revamp them and make them into some fun industrial art. Let's get started. So I got these at the Dollar Tree. It's a real thin board. I don't think it's even real wood, but they were really inexpensive and I thought I'm going to revamp these and use them for something else. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get the glitter off of this. I'm going to use my sanding block, sand most of the glitter off. And this actually comes off very, very easily. Okay, let's get these cleaned off, get all the glitter off. So I'm just using a baby wipe and trying to get, I don't care that some of the glitter is on there as long as it's pretty flush because I'm going to decoupage over the top of this, and I'm using a baby wipe to get all the little scraggly glitters off of here. So what's fun with this is now you have a surface you can work on. So whether you're decoupaging just decoupage paper, napkins, or anything on here, you have a fun surface to work on, and this did not cost you much. I'm going to be using some old dictionary paper to cover both of these, and then we're going to add some fun elements to that. So I know I'll need several sheets. I will start right here. And I'm just using a decoupage medium. You can use your favorite decoupage medium that you would like. This is a mixture of a Mod Podge and a gel medium. If you're using a decoupage paper, you may want to spray it a little bit so it doesn't wrinkle as much. This paper is a little heavier, so I am not as concerned. And I'm just going to let that set for a moment, and I'm going to do the one side on this one. I am going to tear this edge so when I lay it over the top, it doesn't look like it's just a flush piece there. I'm just going to use this metal straight edge, and you could even just use a paintbrush with water. And I know I'm only going to go to here. I'll tear this edge for the other one. This will go here, and this last piece I can use to cover the tops. Make sure all these little edges are down before I put this over. I'm just going to put some on here on the back too. Extra good measure. And I'm just going to seal the top of this. It'll make it start wrinkling again, but it'll start to flatten out as it dries. I'm going to see how much of this I need. There and there, okay. Gonna set this one aside for a moment. So I'm just gonna let both of these dry. So when this is dry, I'm just going to use my sanding block and sand the edges of the paper off. And you could just cut them. So a lot of times in the corners, so you don't want to rip it, I kind of just do a couple little slits here, and that really does seem to help so it doesn't rip. If the paper is damp when you're trying to cut it or trying to sand it, it can want to rip. I'm eventually going to push this out. This is still a little damp in here, so I'm going to just press here, but I will get that out before we're done. And then I'm going to sand the other one in the same way. So I've got these sanded, and I'm going to do a wash around the edges of this board to give it a little bit more interest. I'm going to use some gray and black tones for this. I really want to wash. And I'm mixing my paint with water. I really want to be able to see my words through this, but I want to give myself some interest on these edges. So I really want this watered down. Even though I've sealed this, I just don't want the dark paint to soak in so I don't see my words on my paper. So I'm gonna let these dry and we're gonna move on. So the paint is dry on here, so I am just gonna use a clear sealer over this. I'm just using my polyacrylic crystal clear. I'm gonna be adding transfers next, and I really just don't want it to grab the paper or the paint and just rip it up. So just to be safe. So when this dries, we're gonna put our transfers on. So I'm gonna put transfers on these. I think I'm just gonna use this fun moth on the center of here. And I'm gonna put this fun industrial globe. So this globe is from the Explorations transfer, and the moth is from the Entomology transfer from IOD that I have. I'm going to use my vintage textures. I'm going to use this part of the stamp here. I'm going to be using a brown ink, and I'm going to add some vintage texture to both of my boards. I was going to go with black, but I really am glad I'm using the brown. It's going to pop a little more on there. Go around the edges with the black ink very carefully. Okay, so I think I'm going to stamp a few words on this, and I'm using my block type stamp, and it has some fun words. It reminds you of the old advertising font they would use. Let's seal this one more time, and we're done. I'm going to do my last seal on this. And when this dries, we're just going to put our little holes in there and we're finished. So when your board's dry, you're going to want to make and pop this hole out. This is actually a jewelry sanding tube, but you could use a very skinny nail file. So if you just take a tiny piece of sandpaper and just fold it in half and make it very thin, you can do this down through your hole, but just go straight down. Otherwise, you'll end up, if you bring it back up, it'll probably rip your paper. Okay, I hope you thought this was fun and easy, but these boards are great. Whether you want to use them just as is or revamp them, you could do so many fun projects with these boards. Hope you give this a try and you got a few trips from this, but whatever you do, have fun.